Grand Rising, everyone. This is Artists of Truth coming to you again with another vlog entry. So, I know, I understand people are still watching, I guess, still watching this documentary on Kelly, surviving Kelly and whatnot. And, of course, I'm not watching it. I have no, I really have no interest in it, especially anything that's being aired on Lifetime. You know, that's one of those things I've noticed about Lifetime. And, Lifetime is a network that really pulls on your emotion, on a person's emotions. And what I've learned is when you are emotional, you operate and you think in a very emotional state. Like your better sense of judgment, logic, and reasoning are overpowered by your emotions. And you really can't think clearly. Your emotions will not allow your mind, the human brain, to ask or to question people, events, situations, whatever. When you are in an emotional state, you really can't think clearly, And I understand, the propaganda behind it and why, Lifetime chose to air this documentary, on their network syndicate. Anyone who watches Lifetime has a understanding that Lifetime, it's a very, very emotional network. Either you're going to become very, very upset, or you're just going to bust out in tears watching it. It's rarely you find anything that is enlightening on that network. You think I'm playing? Spend 24 hours watching just the Lifetime network, and I guarantee you one or two things will happen. Your emotions will be pulled. Either you'll feel sad, you'll cry, and be happy. But I guarantee you won't learn anything coming from it, really. Like, really. But yeah, I know a lot of people have been watching, this documentary with R. Kelly, and I just, some of the people that I'm familiar with, that I am linked with, they've been attacking me on Instagram. I really haven't been doing a whole lot of talking on Facebook. Some people, like I said, they are reacting in their emotions. So people aren't really logically thinking about asking, the questions. But I woke up this morning, and one of my close associates, a sister posted something up on Instagram, and it said, "You weren't fast. Period. You were either surrounded by predatory adults or adults who victim shamed you. Period. It wasn't your fault." And, of course, when I read it, I had to read it twice. Like, wait a minute, let me see. Let me see if I catch this, if I'm reading it right. So I read it again, and I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? Okay. And I don't know about you all, but what do you all take from it? Feel free to leave your comments below. And I'll say it again. You weren't fast, period. You were either surrounded by predatory adults or who adults who victim sham you. It wasn't your fault. So let me just give you a brief rundown of what I took from, what I'm taking from it. You're basically telling young, you're basically telling young girls or young adults that, if you're sexually active, it's okay. Go ahead. You're not going to be characterized or told that, you're being fast. You're not being fast. You were surrounded by adults. In this case, it's talking about R. Kelly. But basically, you're telling young girls you're not being fast. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just like, okay, if a girl is on social media and she's recording herself twerking, that's adult's fault, right? That's an adult fault because the adults she around are twerking. They're shaking their ass and doing all this for attention. So the adults that she is around are influencing her to twerk, to reveal herself and sexualize herself. The adults that she are surrounded by are responsible for her doing that, right? Okay. Or adults who are victim shamming her are the reasons why she is behaving in the manner that she's behaving. And I feel like that is a bunch of BS. Like, seriously, it is a bunch of BS. And the reason why I say it is because when you become of an age where your parents taught you right from wrong, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. Your mind is developed. It has developed. Now, it's a difference between developed and maturity. Now, your mind has fully developed. You're still taking in, recording information and learning things. We all are, regardless of our age. But the brain has fully developed because you're not going to put your hands on a hot stove. You've already been taught, don't put your hands on a hot stove. Don't walk across the street without looking both ways. Don't take something that doesn't belong to you because that's stealing. All these things have been taught at some point in these girls' lives. If they had parents, their parents have taught them, don't be out here, don't be fast, don't get out here and have no babies. If you have to be sexually active, talk to us. Protect yourself. I mean, come on now. Because the message that the message that I'm trying to get across to everyone is to don't necessarily look at the accused. Don't look at R. Kelly and say, you know what, all this is R. Kelly's fault. All this is R. Kelly's fault. All this is R. Kelly's fault. And the reason why I'm saying all of it is not his fault is because a lot of those girls who were young at that point in time, they knew what they were getting themselves into. They weren't kidnapped. They weren't forced at gunpoint. None of these things were done to them. A lot of them were, you had some of them that were dropped off by their parents. Their parents didn't even bother to investigate where in the hell you dropping your daughter off to, and who your daughter is going to be around. A lot of parents failed in that aspect. You know. Not only that, a lot of those girls at that time, they knew, they already knew the things the things that you're not willing to do in front of your parents. You already know, I shouldn't even be doing it. If you know you shouldn't be out there kissing some boy that is 22, 23 years old, if you wouldn't do that shit in front of your parents, then you have the conscious, your mind is developed. You know right from wrong. You know what to do and what not to do. And I feel like a lot of people make excuses for these girls who are supposed to be grown women now, that I guarantee you they're still making irresponsible decisions in their own lives, But it was astounding to read the message that a sister posted that you weren't fast. I was like, well, what do you call a young girl? What do you call a young girl who is on social media revealing herself, sending photos of her half naked behind to some other boys? What do you call a young girl who is sexually active but don't know a thing about sexually transmitted diseases, or how to protect herself, how to value herself enough to say, you know what, I'm going to save myself? Like, really? I'm like, hell, honestly, shit, I'm 40 some years old. I didn't lose my virginity until I want to say after I graduated from high school. I was in my early 20s, and I had a lot of influence around me. But they weren't adults though. They weren't adults. They were girls that I really liked, that were already familiar with being sexually active. They were guys that I grew up with. They were already sexually active. It didn't have anything to do with adults, because the adults that I was around, and shit, they were too busy telling me, hey, enjoy your life, be a teenager, do things that teenagers do, but most of all, protect yourself. If you don't want to have a child, don't put yourself in a position where you might end up getting a girl pregnant. Or don't go out there and have sex with a girl and you're underage and she's underage. That's statutory rape. You can go to jail for that. You could go to prison for that. And I thought about it. I was like, shit, I don't want to go to jail. I was like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to prison. So these were things that were instilled in me. Now, did some jacked up shit in my time? Yeah, I did. But it wasn't because I wasn't told. It was because I made the conscious decision that this is what I wanted to do, regardless of what adults were telling me to do and not to do. It was my choice. And this is the message that I've been trying to get out to a lot of people. Don't let these young adults play you like you stupid. A lot of these young girls, they are being fast. A lot of these young girls, I'll tell you one better. They are not being, not all young girls are being influenced by the adults that they are around, but a lot of these young girls are being influenced by other women, by other grown women who are not even around them. What you are allowing your daughters to watch on television, these rap videos and whatnot, because I understand, I hear, I see and hear a lot of women talk about, well, um, men are sexualizing women, and that is unacceptable. I was like, but women are sexualizing themselves and trying to call it, oh, this is my freedom, this is art, or this, that, and the fifth. I'm an artist. I know art when I see it. And a lot of shit that I see on TV, that's not art. That's bullshit. That's just sexualizing yourself. That's just putting the label on yourself saying, I am a sexual goddess. I am a sexual being. That is how I am. That is how I always will be. And people, it's like young girls, they look at that, they emulate that, because a lot of them, they haven't grown into learning who they are and accepting and learning how to value themselves. So, you know what's right and what's wrong. We just make excuses for these young girls to do shit that they know they shouldn't be doing. Stop it. As adults, we have to be accountable for the things that we're saying and the things that we're doing. As well as, I don't care if you're under the age of 18. If you know right from wrong, then yeah, you know what you're doing. And it's no excuse that any adult should make for them about them. Oh, you're not being fast. You were just surrounded by predatory adults or adults who victim sham you. No, if you know the difference between right and wrong, that ain't got shit to do with an adult. If you make the conscious decision to go in someone's house and steal, that has nothing to do with an adult. You made that conscious decision to go into someone's house and take something that doesn't belong to you. You make the conscious decision to go out there and have sex with someone who is way older than you. All because you want to be a little hot ass, a little hot tail. But that concludes my video. Just take that bit of information and just think on it. And leave your comments below. Y'all have a great day.